we're joined by the Border Security Minister, Alex Norris. Great to have you
Sophie.
on the programme. So Keir Starmer and Xi Jinping say they're going to have a sophisticated relationship. What does that mean? Is that like, fancy restaurants, trip to Paris? What is a sophisticated relationship?
I suspect not. It is really important that we have a good and consistent relationship with China. Viewers will understand that whether it's the economy, whether it's the climate, whether it's international organised crime, China has an important stake in it. It's important we work with them to get the best out of it, which is what the Prime Minister's doing over in China at the moment. It's got us to a position where we're able to announce a really exciting collaboration between our security and intelligence services to tackle small boats parts. Over 60% of engines in channel crossings last year originated in China. So having that relationship with China and their enforcement agencies means we can disrupt that flow, and that's the type of activity the Prime Minister's been brokering over the last couple of days.
Given you've mentioned this new agreement, this announcement is trying to help stop the boats, it's easier said than done, isn't it? It's one of those things where it sounds pretty good on paper, but you don't fill out a form to buy these engines and put down your profession as people smugglers, do you? It's a bit more complicated than that.
Well, of course it is. But these are, highly sophisticated global networks that operate, across source countries, all the way back to, in this case, engine parts being made in China. But we know about that flow and can disrupt it at certain points. But the more support we have from international partners, the more we can do that. And every part disruption means that the model becomes less reliable, becomes more expensive. And if you add that to what I've said on the programme before about changes around asylum, around increases in enforcement against those who've got no right to work here, around removals of people no right to be here, together, that's a very significant package of work.
You came into the election promising to smash the gangs. We've heard this kind of language before, smash the gangs, stop the boats, and it's always more difficult than the rhetoric. How many gangs have you smashed?
Well, I don't think any public policy is easier than the press release. Of course it's not. We've made 4,000 interventions against organised crime since we took office. Every time that makes it that little bit harder. But, the more... 4,000 interventions against people smugglers. That could be arrests, that can be disrupting a sale of a boat, 4,000 interventions against organised crime type activity.
It's quite hard to know. I'm asking how many gangs were smashed. That's what you promised in the election, isn't it?
Well, this is a process that we'll deliver over this parliamentary term. I know your viewers, as you do, as I do, want to see those channel crossings reduced. The way to do that is, as I say, by making our countries more attractive than the rest of Europe to come to. We're making changes to bring us into line. We also know that people think that they can't be removed when they do get here. That's why we're removing more people. And people also think that they're going to be able to transit parts from around the world to then assemble and use in the channel. Well, this today is to disrupt that. So it's all of those things together.
Can I ask you about assisted dying, if I may? Because it's been blocked in the Lords. I think some people would say it's been blocked in the Lords. Others would say that the Lords are applying appropriate scrutiny to this very controversial piece of legislation. But there's a real risk that it's not going to get through. Do you think the Lords should now, in the kind of interest of democracy, I guess, allow this to be voted on and move forward?
Well, the government's position on this is that, we think it's an important debate. We think it's an important, matter that needs to come to its fruition one way or the other, which is why we've provided the parliamentary space for that to happen. I voted for it in the Commons. That's my view. I was after extensive engagement with constituents, a lot of personal reflection. I think the peers need to do their job. I would hope that they would use that as a process of revising and improving, as the Lords is meant to, rather than trying to artificially stop it.
Are you worried that's what they're trying to do? Are you worried they are trying to artificially stop it?
Well, I have to say, so if I'm really, really honest, I haven't been following it particularly closely. We've done our bits in the Commons, and now as the government of the day, that's what our focus is. Charlie Faulkner's an incredible peer, someone I respect and rate very highly. I know he will be using all the best mechanisms to get that through, and I hope that peers will do their important work and bring that to a fruition and that it won't run out of time.
Charlie Faulkner's talking about using the 1911 Parliamentary Act to kind of force it through, if you like, if Lords block it, which would basically allows kind of, the House of Commons to reign supreme, if you like, and to get it through the Lords, even if they don't want it. Would that be appropriate?
Well, that would be unprecedented, is my understanding, for a matter that obviously is not government business. Governments have used it because it's that primacy of the democratically elected chamber.
But this isn't officially government business, as you say.
Well, indeed. So, peers on both sides of this debate and parliamentarians on both sides of this debate will use all our constitutional procedures and all our parliamentary rules in whatever ways they want to, and they should do that in line with their positions, and we'll see what comes of that.
Water bills going up again. including South East Water, where bills are going up 7%, even though they're facing this investigation by Ofwat into supply issues in Kent and Sussex. I mean, they'll say it's about investment, but it's a bit of a kick in the teeth, isn't it?
I know people will look and, any bill that goes up will feel that. It is about investment. These are, water supplies that have not been invested in well for years and years and years. This is money ring-fenced for that investment. It won't be going to executive pay. We've already made sure that that's not the case. In the long run, that is better for consumers to have more reliable, better quality water supply. But I appreciate there's pain with that. We've made changes, as you know, Sophie, in the budget to help people with their fuel bills, help keep petrol costs down, help keep beer costs down. So it's that balance. We know, as you've heard from the Prime Minister there, cost of living is at the heart of everything we do. So we want to give people that support, but this investment is needed.
Should nationalisation be on the table?
Well, I have to say, I don't think that would be the answer. If your concern here is the public having to pick up the bill for failures of investment in the past, well, actually, nationalisation at this stage would crystallise all those losses that have been taken in the past. So what we want to do is to use and to strengthen the existing legislative framework to make it work for people, to get improvements now, and I think that's the right balance.
OK, thanks very much indeed, Alex Norris, speaking to us there.